What's going on, guys? Welcome back to another video, and today I'm going to be talking about the box office for this weekend, specifically Demon Slayer: Infinity Castle, which came out this weekend and did absolutely insane numbers. It opened to $70 million, which is just crazy for an anime film opening in mid-September. And there's a lot to break down for Demon Slayer. There's so many records that it has set. Especially for anime, because the previous best anime movie opening of all time was the original Pokemon movie, which opened to $31 million, I believe. And this movie, Demon Slayer, did that in one day. It did that in one day, and it opened to $70 million, which is just crazy. Absolutely shattered the all-time anime record. At the box office. It's also the 6th best September opening of all time, and it is Sony's biggest opening year to date, which is great for Sony. They've been killing it recently with animation. We might talk about that as well, because there's a lot to talk about there in terms of, like, Sony recently, they've been going crazy with their movies, okay? And not just at the box office, or not just like numbers in general, but actually like quality films that are getting rave reviews and Rotten Tomatoes scores off the charts. Like, this film was sitting at a 100% audience score for a bit of time. I believe it's down to 98% now, but there was a time where I went on Rotten Tomatoes and it was at 100% audience score. I've never seen that before. I've never seen a 100% audience score before, because to get a 100% from the audience, it's different from the critics. With the critics, they choose rotten or fresh or rotten scores. And basically anything above a 6 out of 10 is considered fresh. Anything below a 6 out of 10 is considered rotten. And so the number, that percent number you see from the critics, doesn't necessarily mean that 98% of critics liked the film. It means that 98% of critics gave it a 6 out of 10 or higher, and 2% gave it a below 6 out of 10. However, that's not how the audience score works. The audience score is based on star rating, and it averages out every single review. So basically, if a movie gets, let's just say, 105-star ratings, and then gets one 4.5-star rating, which is still a 9 out of 10, which is just crazy good, but that would bring it down to a 99%, because just that one half star, you can't call it 100% anymore. Like, every half star matters for that score, whereas with the critics score, it's a little bit less of that. It's more just kind of like yes or no. It's just two options, and the audience score is very different, which means that when you see a 100% critic score, that can mean that, it usually, if you see a 100% critic score, that's really good, but it's best to look at the reviews and see what the critics are actually giving it, because you could have 30 reviews, 100% score, and 28 out of those 30 reviews are below an 8, but they're above a 6. Right, so it's not necessarily that everybody's giving it a 10 out of 10, it just means that everybody is at least liking the film. But again, seeing a 100% with all those critics and, unanimous, that's usually a really good sign. But for an audience score to do that, that's unheard of. That's unheard of. So Sony giving the fans what they want, right? This is just absolutely insane opening weekend, insane Rotten Tomatoes score. And if Pixar's not careful, Sony's going to come in here and swipe that crown right off Pixar's head, because Pixar, they have really, both Pixar and Sony, Pixar is not what they used to be, and Sony's not what they used to be, and they are going in very different directions. Pixar is going straight down, and Sony is going straight up. So we'll see. Over the next few years, Sony could become the new Pixar, for sure. I could see that happening. As for some of the other films that came out this weekend, we had Downton Abbey, which did about $18 million this weekend, which is good. I projected that it would be able to go higher than that, but didn't quite get there, unfortunately. We also have The Long Walk, which came out this weekend as well, and it did $11.7 million, which again is solid. Now, the movie was made for $20 million, so, you know, if you open to $11 million, that's pretty good, right? You're probably going to end up making your money back on it. It might break even. We'll see. Me and my dad have a review on The Long Walk if you want to go and check that out as well. I think so far September has just been way better than anybody could have imagined it to be. Nobody saw The Conjuring doing $80 million. It doubled all those projections. Some people didn't even think that it could get to $40 million. But it went crazy, $84 million where it ended up. And then now this week with Downton Abbey, The Long Walk, and Demon Slayer, it's just really, 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 really good. Start to September. It's definitely going to wind down here, but great start for September. And another record that I just remembered, that I completely forgot, is that there has never been in September a weekend where there were back-to-back $40 million plus openings, opening weekends for two movies that both opened to $40 million plus. Never happened before in 2 consecutive weekends in September. And Demon Slayer and The Conjuring just did 2 $70 million movies in a row in September. That has definitely never happened, which is just crazy. Again, we're having a great September. It's not going to last, but it's fine. Just live in the moment, all right? This is very rare for September. So let's go ahead and talk about the top 10 this weekend. Obviously, number 1, no contest, Demon Slayer with $70.6 million in its opening weekend. Next on the list at number 2 is The Conjuring Last Rites, which made $25.6 million and dropped roughly 70% in its second weekend. That is catastrophic. That is a catastrophic drop. Now, I did say in the last box office video that I did think that it would probably drop relatively high because the first weekend it had such a big first weekend, and I think a lot of the fans went to go see it, and the reviews were kind of mixed. It was more mid, and so that combination of just huge opening, mixed reviews, and then just all the fans had already seen it, it was going to take a pretty heavy drop, but this is pretty heavy drop. I was projecting that hopefully it would get between like that 55 to 60% mark would be nice. You know, a little over 60% wouldn't be too bad. But 60, almost 70%, that is really bad. That is really bad. But honestly, I don't think Warner Bros. Cares that much because it's up to $130 million domestically, and it's looking like it might reach $500 million globally, which would be the biggest of any of the Conjuring movies, so I think they're just fine with these numbers. But yeah, at number 3 we have Downton Abbey, the grand finale, which did $18.1 million on its opening weekend. At number 4 we have The Long Walk, which did $11.7 million on its opening weekend. At number 5 we have the 30th anniversary re-release of Toy Story, which did $3.4 million. At number 6 we have Weapons, which did $2.7 million, down 48%. That film's up to $147 million in its 6th weekend. At number 7 we have Hamilton, which got released to theaters, which did $2.2 million in its 2nd weekend, down 78%. That's a heavy drop, although it's expected because Hamilton, everybody's already seen Hamilton, so they put it in theaters, all the fans went out to see it, and then there's not really anybody left to go see it 2nd weekend, so, is what it is. But at number 8, we have Freakier Friday with $2.1 million, down 45%. In its 6th weekend, it's up to $91 million domestically. At number 9, we have Spinal Tap 2, The End Continues, with $1.6 million in its opening weekend. And at number 10, we have The Sound of Music re-release, which did $1.6 million. Okay, so let's talk about next weekend with Him is coming out next weekend, and I'm going to project it's probably going to open to about 18.2 million is kind of what I'm seeing for it. It's probably going to get decent reviews. I'm expecting decent reviews from it. The trailers have looked very weird and interesting, and it's created some buzz online. So I think it could do okay, but nothing crazy. Again, we're going back to that normal September stuff where you get like $18 million opening weekends for the box office. That's kind of more normal for September, which is what we're getting back into. So if you guys like this video, make sure you give it a like, subscribe to the channel if you're new, and comment down below, have you seen Demon Slayer? What'd you think of Demon Slayer? And I will see you guys next time.